Steve Gerardi here. Welcome to Steve Strings. Today I have another build to share with you. This is my 22nd cigar box guitar type build. In this case, it is a cookie tin banjo guitar, whatever you want to call it. I did this build as part of a swap off with a guy up in Michigan, and I'll talk about some of the details of this to showcase that. But let me go ahead and kind of show you some details of this instrument, starting with the headstock. As you can see here, the headstock is oak, as is the neck, but I have these little mahogany wings on it. These tuning machines are just some basic open gear tuners that I salvaged from an ukulele that had a broken tuner, so I just recycled those three. The string spacer I have here that looks like a nut, again, it's a string spacer, and this is a piece of plastic I literally found on the side of the road while I was walking my dog, and I cut it to size and used it as a string spacer. This nice dark wood fretboard, you might be thinking that's walnut, but that is actually poplar. I was at the big box store and found this piece of poplar that was a dark piece, and I said, I gotta have that for a fretboard. You can see here that it does have a joint here at the heel where it overlaps a good distance to make sure it's gonna be good and strong. And I do have a scarf joint here at the neck. Again, the body of this instrument is just a Christmas cookie tin. And this was a tin that was red, and it had a red lid with snowmen and things on it. So I spray painted the lid white, and then I decoupaged on this sort of yin and yang flag artwork here. And I should say that this artwork was done by my brother, Mark Gerardi. And you might want to do some searching for him online. He does some pinup art and some really interesting things, so you can check him out if you're interested. The bridge for this is just a piece of a 1/4 inch oak that I basically just trimmed and shaped to serve as a bridge and saddle. I do not have a fret in this one. I just tried that one with plain wood. You can see that I do have a pickup jack right here. So I have a piezo electric pickup that is hot glued to the underside of the lid. And I should say I've made some of these before, and some of them sound really, really tinny and can sound like a steel drum. I tried to tone that down by doing this decoupage on the lid, hoping to tone down some of that tinniness. And also you can see here on the back side of this instrument, I also decoupaged on the state seal of Michigan, because this particular build is going to a cigar box guitar builder in Michigan. So I wanted to have that little piece for him there. Also, you can see I have this through body design, and I have the strings just coming out through the tail piece here with just some sort of rivet collars there to hold that in place. Now, I've done some other instruments like this where I've had ukulele strings, nylon strings, come just over the end of the tin. But I didn't want that because I was afraid the metal would kind of cut into that metal a bit. And so I basically just shaped another piece of poplar here that I just super glued onto the end piece there, so that when the strings come from the tail piece, they come up and over that piece of wood rather than cutting into the tin. Another feature I have on this is I do have a few holes cut in here in order to allow the sound to come up toward the player when they're playing. And also, I purposely made the hole where I put the neck in through the body, the hole slightly larger than the wood going through, again, to allow the sound to come out of the tin. A couple other features you may not be able to see as easily is if you look here at the soundboard, I have position markers, and the white ones stand up pretty well. But you can see here at the 3rd, the 7th, the 12th, and the 17th fret, I have these red position markers there. And what these position markers came from was they were some like stirring sticks that had like snowflakes on them. They were red and white, like Christmas themed stirring sticks for like drinks. And I just cut those and put them in holes that I drilled. And here on the player's side, you can see I have position markers just in white. And again, those were some position markers I got from MGB Guitars, so shout out to them. Now you've heard the sound of this acoustically on the way in, And I should say that this is tuned to G, D, G, and I have all solid strings, no wound strings, and the strings are 16, 12, and 10. And I did that because I wanted a light set, because it's a tin and not quite as sturdy, I think, as wood from cigar boxes. And also, since this sort of has a banjo shape to it, I wanted it to have sort of a banjo-esque sort of sound. So it's a pretty bright sound. In fact, when I plugged it into my amp, which I'll do here in a minute, I turned the bass up and the treble down in order to give it a little more balanced sound. Particularly since I'm using a piezoelectric pickup in this. In case you're wondering what the string action is like, I checked it here. I'll check it again because it's maybe settling still. And the string action here at the 12th fret is 2.25 millimeters. So it's a pretty good string action there. I wasn't quite sure how much the lid would depress, because I've seen that on some of these tins the lids get depressed a bit. So I started off with it a little bit high, and here in the past few minutes it's sort of settled in, because I just strung this up a few minutes ago. So now that you've heard this a little bit on the way in of its acoustic sound, let's go ahead and plug it in and see what it sounds like. And I'll go ahead and put up an image showing the settings I have on my amp. I now have this plugged into my amp, and I'm using this Legato WS80 wireless system. I've done a review on that, so you can check that out on my channel if you want to see that. So there you have it, an instrument I'm going to call the Patriot. And again, this was built as part of a Patriot-themed cigar box guitar swap, and I'll put the little image up here with that. This is through a Facebook group that I'm a part of. They have a couple of sort of planned or scheduled swaps a year, and then some other ones thrown in, and I was wanting to do this one here. I should say that I built this during July of 2021, and I don't know that I'll do that again, because I'm here in South Central Texas, and it's hot being out in the garage building this in July. So I might wait for some cooler weather before I try to build another one. So I hope you found today's sort of review of this little instrument interesting. I'll tell you, these are a lot of fun to make. It's always a fun project to work on. I always learn from them. I make mistakes. And if you haven't tried building one of these, I certainly encourage you to try. Also, if you are a cigar box guitar builder, and if you're not already a member of the Guild of American Luthiers, I suggest you check them out and join them. They get a really interesting sort of magazine or newsletter or journal that comes from them, which has lots of really cool information for folks who are interested in building guitars and other string instruments. So again, I hope you found today's video of this instrument that I build entertaining or interesting. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of my builds, please subscribe. I'd like to come back and see more of the instruments I build, as well as the instruments I review and other miscellaneous sort of video types. Thanks for watching.